You fools inherited a republic and turned it into a circus of ego, corruption, vanity, and institutional cowardice. And you dare call this constitutional governance? When we crafted this system, it was not because we trusted men. It was because we did not. That is the entire damn point you seem to have forgotten. The Constitution was built to restrain power, not worship it, not excuse it, not hand it over willingly to whichever loud fool promises you safety, revenge, prosperity, or emotional comfort. We separated power because concentrated power corrupts civilizations. Every time, every empire, every king, every tyrant, every demagogue. History screamed this lesson at humanity for thousands of years. And now I look upon 2026 and watch Americans behave as though the Constitution exists merely as decoration for political speeches and courtroom photo opportunities. Congress, spineless. Half of you behave like frightened courtiers orbiting wealthy donors and party machines instead of representatives of the people. You spend more time fundraising, branding yourselves, and performing outrage than governing the republic you swore to protect. You trade principle for re-election, duty for tribal loyalty, integrity for access. The legislature was meant to be the people's firewall against concentrated power. Instead, it has become a marketplace of cowardice and transactional allegiance. And the executive branch, you people have turned presidents into monarchs draped in flags and media strategy. The presidency was never meant to become a personality cult. The office was designed to execute the law, not emotionally dominate half the population while the other half kneels in devotion or rage. Some of you speak of presidents the way peasants once spoke of kings. That should terrify you. A free people do not worship rulers. They scrutinize them relentlessly. And the judiciary, dear God, a court system feared by the public loses moral legitimacy regardless of ideology. Judges were meant to defend constitutional stability, not become political celebrities interpreted like high priests by partisan mobs. When citizens begin believing justice itself depends entirely on which faction controls institutions, the republic enters dangerous territory. And then there is the people themselves. Yes, you. Because the Constitution was never designed to survive without an informed, morally disciplined citizenry. That was the unspoken agreement. We gave you liberty. You were supposed to give the republic vigilance, education, restraint, and civic responsibility in return. Instead, many of you surrendered your attention spans to algorithms, your principles to tribes, and your reasoning to propaganda merchants who profit from your outrage. You turned politics into an agreement. You turned patriotism into branding. You turned constitutional debate into screaming theater. And now you wonder why trust collapses everywhere. You cannot maintain a republic when citizens care more about humiliating opponents than preserving institutions. You cannot preserve liberty while rewarding corruption simply because it benefits your side temporarily. You cannot claim devotion to the Constitution while selectively applying its principles whenever emotionally convenient. That is not constitutional governance. That is tribal opportunism. The founders feared foreign enemies, yes, But what we feared most was internal decay, a population too distracted, arrogant, ignorant, divided, or exhausted to defend the system from gradual corrosion. And that corrosion is exactly what I see now. So let me remind you what this document actually was. A warning, a restraint, a shield against human nature itself. Because power always hungers for more power, always. The Constitution exists because freedom cannot survive on trust alone. It survives only when citizens possess enough courage to restrain the very people they are tempted to idolize. And judging by what I see in 2026, many of you have forgotten that entirely.